Welcome to this Mastery Empowerment course from New Earth One Network. This is designed exclusively for your higher self connection and embodiment. Welcome to this Mastery Empowerment course. We are learning a beautiful tool that's very ancient, actually, and it helps us in our modern world. It's very powerful. My guest today is a teacher and practitioner of this, and she's here to talk about prana planet breathwork. Taya Raine is here with us, and we're so pleased to meet you.
Yes, I'm so happy for the opportunity to do that. Of course, we are in such an intense time on the planet, and it's different everywhere in the world. Everybody's going through so much right now, and the more tools we have to center ourselves, to soothe our nervous system, to integrate and ground and be present, the better, right? So with this breath work, it is incredibly powerful for allowing oneself to just drop into a nice rhythmic breath and learn how to use that breath to really clear anything that you don't need, that you no longer want to have with you, and to draw in exactly what you need. And in this day and age where people's nervous systems are tending to be a little bit more offset than ever, I find this to be just an incredibly powerful practice. The breath does have many, many levels to it in the way that I teach it. But in this initial course, we are essentially learning to observe our breath, which within itself is very, very calming and centering. We're learning what our breath is doing on its own. And then we begin to learn to breathe in deeper ways that bring that soothing quality, that peaceful quality, and also a very energizing quality.
So the breath has many levels, and what we find is that many of us are breathing so shallowly most of the time. So what would you say about this? It enhances the blood flow, obviously the oxygen in our blood, and that actually is healthy in its own aspects as well, right?
Yes, it's so important that we be bringing in more oxygen than most of us are, because just as you said, Lauren, most people are breathing at kind of a very shallow level of breath, whereas our lungs have so much capacity to bring in more fresh oxygen, and in so doing, really bathe the entire blood system with that oxygen so that our cells can then operate at the highest level of vitality. And so we can be strong and healthy, which, of course, with everything we're in on the planet now, has become exceedingly even more important. So that oxygen is just going to bring that boost of vitality. But also when we're breathing deeply, we're clearing out all of the old patterns of the fear and the anxiety. And so we're able then to expand our lung capacity. And as we breathe in these different ways, we learn to breathe in prana as well. So for those of you not familiar with that term, prana means life force or universal energy. And so you're learning to bring in this unlimited, very, very high energy which essentially can allow you to be stronger, more vital, more spiritually connected, more emotionally freed, and mentally more clear. Yeah, so there's so many benefits.
Countless benefits, and we're going to be experiencing some of these tools, some of these breathwork sessions and techniques in this course today. You are teaching us about an upcoming webinar series that will expand the teachings here. What I
Mm.
love is that first we clear out the old patterns and the fear and the anxiety. We are certainly in a time of lots of clearing going on. And
Mm.
then it's the life force that we're breathing in. This is the path of the breatharians as well. And you call this a path of light mastery. Can you share more about that title?
Yes, I would love to. So, these teachings I was given by my spiritual teacher when I was 18, and I studied with him for 3.5 years. And I always remember some of the first words he said to me were, "This is really a path of light mastery." And over time, I really came to discover within myself what that was about. And so, to me, essentially, it's about learning to work with light and to master that ability within ourselves to be connected to light, to be in service to light, to be vessels of light. And in so doing, becoming more and more capable of transmuting darkness, of seeing truth, of not being afraid to look at what that's all about. And so, not only do we breathe, but on each call, I give some of these teachings that were given to me so that you feel really supported. You're not just breathing, but you're learning about the ego and how to work with the ego, and prayer and how to work with prayer, connecting with nature, hydrating, and just all of these different tools that go hand in hand with these really high techniques of breath. And there's many levels to it as well. So that's also why I've termed it a path of light mastery, because there's really no end to where you can take this. And it's dependent on each person. It's always perfect for each and every person, in that you're your own guide in it. So you're always choosing how quickly you want to accelerate and how you want to work with it.
Beautiful. Can you share more about an overview of that series, particularly in relation to the ancient teachings of these practices?
Yes, I'm so happy to do that. So, in the beginning, we're really learning to just observe the breath, which comes from the path called Vipassana, which is a Buddhist practice. And that's part of what was woven into the teachings that I was given by my teacher. But I also then went on to live in the temples in Thailand. So, it's a really, really strong part of my practice. And from there, we then learn to breathe in very deep ways. We learn rhythmic yogic breath, essentially breathing in and out through the nose, deeply and rhythmically. And then we begin to accelerate pretty quickly on what I call the ladder of ascension of breath. And these teachings are very, very unique. I've never experienced anything else like it in the world. I've studied all kinds of breath work. My teacher also originally told me that this was the highest breath work on the planet. And it didn't really take long for me to feel inside of myself that this was true. So I can describe a little bit. I can give you a taste of what you can possibly experience. You learn to breathe through your chakras and through your auric field, and ultimately to activate your Merkaba, your vehicle of light, but in very, very direct ways. So it's not a mild, meditation of let's visualize our chakras opening, or let's visualize our Merkaba activating. It's very strong, beautiful, very exact techniques for how to breathe into the chakras and to open the aura and open the Merkaba. And as we do that, we weave in these teachings that work with the breath succinctly at each step of the way. And there's actually 4 levels to this. So I usually do it in a 6 to 8 week course. So then 4 of those. And then there's a 5th level, which brings you to kind of the highest level of self mastery, where you dive deep for 2 weeks and integrate the practices in that way. So there's many, many ways that we will be breathing. We also weave in holotropic and rebirthing breath, and that is also the way that I was taught. And those techniques are just incredibly powerful for clearing and resetting, and especially for clearing birth trauma and really getting to the core things that we're holding on to and releasing them. And in fact, going back to that very first breath, where a lot of us hold the trauma that kind of set how we breathe. And so we do breathing sitting up. We do breathing in a meditative way. We also do breathing standing and with movement, and then also lying down in the form of the holotropic and the rebirthing breath. So it's a beautiful journey each time. And then at the end, we integrate with question and answer and just a share so that everybody can hear from each other and feel supported. And then I also offer one private class during that window so that people can come on and just really have that safe space with me to dive a little bit deeper.
Safe space indeed, because when we're looking at some of these wounds, we may not even realize that they even exist. It's that wound, that trauma that begins to clench, or it's what causes us as individuals to start to clench up our breath or start to breathe shallowly, right?
Yes. Yeah, it's so true. And becoming free of these traumas that we carry is just such a path of liberation and bliss. And I know for myself that I went from being a person who I had a very traumatic childhood, and I was kind of always all over the place, always processing, very easily affected by things, to just really constantly able to reset and to feel a deep sense of peace and integrating whatever, life would bring my way. And life is always going to do that, right? We're always still going to have these experiences that might challenge us. So when we have this kind of breath work practice, it just allows us to constantly be in that place of self-mastery. Yeah.
So let's move into a place of self-mastery and experience a little taste of this breath work.
Sounds good.
Hi everyone, my name is Taya Raine, and I'm so excited to be here with you all today on the Neo Network. Thank you, Lauren, for all that you do. Thank you for having me here. I have actually a series of courses that I'll be offering on the network, and today I am here to introduce you to the very first course, Breathwork. There is a series of breathwork techniques that I offer. There are 4 levels to the practice, and for the first time ever, I am also now offering a teacher training. This video is actually the very first time I am introducing the teacher training. So if you're interested in the training, please wait to the end of this video and I'll give you a little bit of a description of that. But for now, I'm going to stay focused on the breathwork series. So level 1 will be a course of 6 weeks, and we'll come on a Zoom call once a week for about an hour, and we'll start with just an opening grounding practice. We'll then move into breath work, and we'll close with a sharing circle, followed by some suggestions and teachings that I'll offer for your week. So this breathwork practice is called Prana Planet, the Tara Teachings, a Path of Light Mastery. It is everything that I have developed through my own process of awakening and teaching people for the past 15 years, over 15 years now. So at age 17, I went through a beautiful grand spiritual awakening. At age 18, I met my first spiritual teacher, and he is the one that gave me this breathwork practice. I began teaching after 3.5 years, and I've been doing so ever since, refining and evolving this practice over time. At this point, what I have to offer, I can honestly say, is a beautiful umbrella that leaves no stone untouched for spiritual growth, healing, and development. So in the Breathwork series, each week you will be learning different techniques. And it's a ladder of breathwork. So each class becomes more and more specific, more refined. You're learning more and more deeply beautiful ways to breathe. There are so many ways to breathe that we just can't even imagine until we come to these deeper practices. So for some of you, you've probably already done a lot of breath work. Some of you have probably dabbled in it a little bit, and then there are those of you that breath work is entirely new to. So I'm going to describe a little bit about what breath work can do for you. Then I'm going to dive a little bit deeper into why this particular breath work is what I believe to be the very most powerful breath work out there, which is what my spiritual teacher said to me when I first came to him. It didn't take long for me to discover that I found that to be true. So in breath, essentially, breath is life. As we know, we are always breathing. But how consciously are we breathing? And what else can we do with breath? We have stuck breathing patterns going all the way back to not only when we were born, but to when we were in the womb. So in this form of breath work, we learn to unlock those stuck patterns inside of us, to unlock amazing amounts of energy and emotional freedom, mental clarity, and spiritual connectedness. Our breath, when we really work with it, can clear out anything and everything that we are holding that we no longer want to hold for our highest good. And as we do that, we unlock a fountain of eternal energy within us. We clear the lungs, the tissue of the lungs. We clear the heart, the physical heart and the spiritual heart. We cleanse and clear the cells of all toxicity and memories that we no longer need to hold. We awaken the potential of our DNA. We clear the tissues in our body, the organs of the body. We awaken higher brain capacity. And inside of doing all of that for the body, our body becomes extremely more vital and healthy, thus resetting the clock of aging and unlocking the highest potential for well-being, health, longevity, and radiating beauty from within. As we do that and our body becomes more vital, we feel so much more alive and so much happier to be in our bodies. We awaken the pineal gland and we clear it of all of the calcification that has been there. Now, to move along to the mental level. When we breathe in conscious ways, and especially in this practice where I'm not only going to be showing you breathwork techniques, but also each class and each session has beautifully refined spiritual teachings that go along with that practice. We then avail ourselves of the highest levels of mental clarity, higher cognitive abilities. We clear patterns of mental blockages that cause us to procrastinate or cycle in unhealthy addictions and patterns. We feel more alert. We feel incredibly more focused. We feel more capable of engaging in our daily life mentally and in feeling inspired. Emotionally, we begin to feel so much more free from all of the old patterns that have us cycling in negativity, in complaint, in anxiety, in stress, in trauma. And we just begin to feel so liberated. And that avails us to feel more energy in our body in our daily life. Spiritually, we begin to feel more and more connected to our inner self, to the center of our heart and our soul, to our high self, to nature, and to the infinite realms of light that we truly do come from. And as that happens, we begin to feel the wholeness and the alignment of all of these levels of our being. Our astral being becomes more aligned. Our dream state becomes more beautiful. Our intuition awakens and aligns. And so essentially, we begin to feel whole as a being. No longer fragmented and fractured, but truly aligned here in our center and the wholeness of our being, our hoop of sacred light that we are. Doesn't all of this sound wonderful and amazing? I so love offering these practices. I am well adept at navigating through the inner realms with all that I hold space for. And so what that looks like is that as I'm guiding you through the breath work, I'm connecting to my soul, to my high self, to spirit, and I'm allowing energies of light to come in that hold a container for all of you to feel safe, to feel well guided, to connect with your inner self and to be your own guide for your journey, while knowing that there's someone there holding space, motivating you to do these spiritual practices. Because when we step into this arena where we're allowing someone to guide us in this teaching capacity, over time that mechanism just becomes more and more ingrained in us, and it's less and less challenging to come to our own practices. So that is part of my purpose in guiding you. I want to add a little bit to what we're opening, what we're awakening to, and then I'm going to dive a little bit deeper. So in this breath work, you are going to learn to clear your meridian lines, your energy lines through your body. You're going to learn to awaken, activate, center, and align your chakras in a very, very powerful, direct way. You're going to learn to open and activate your energy field, your light body, and ultimately in the higher stages of this practice, your Merkaba. If you haven't heard this term, Merkaba means vehicle of light. Now that is at the higher levels of this practice, but I wanted to give you a little bit of a taste of what is availed to you in this beautiful practice. As your energy lines open and clear, that then allows more energy to flow into your body and for you to feel more connected and more spacious, essentially to expand your energy field so that you become more of your potential. And then as you learn to move into activating your chakras, your light body, your Merkaba, you ultimately become all that we truly are. So to give that a few terms here, the exalted self, the Christed self, the true self, our highest self, our multidimensional self, all of this is entirely possible in this practice. And again, one of the key components is that it's not just breathing, it's beautiful teachings that go along with this breath work. So you're learning and understanding how to work with the ego, how to clear the ego, purify the ego, align the ego. You're learning to connect with your seat of your highest self. So there is so much to all of this. I could speak for hours on what all of this is. But hopefully I've given you a good taste for what is possible. Now I want to say a little bit about what the series is of breathwork techniques inside of level 1, which again is a 6-week course, coming on a call, 1 hour a week, and then doing that practice through the week. And then there are 4 levels to this. So 4 courses, 6 weeks each. And then if you're interested in the teacher training, you'll hear about this after we do the breathwork practice at the end of this video. So in this series, we begin by learning to drop into our breath, to open our breath in beautiful, simple, gentle, peaceful ways that are massively effective. And even if you only ever did one of these aspects of the breathwork teachings, it would still benefit you for the rest of your life. But what happens is not just that simple level that is given to you, but we build upon that, a ladder, if you will, of breathwork teachings that each week becomes more sophisticated, more involved, and more evolved. There are so many ways that we can breathe that we simply can't imagine until we come to these practice. So each course is perfect for each person, whether you're totally new to breath, you've done some of it, or you feel yourself to be somewhat of a master of breath. And the reason that I say this is because these techniques are incredibly unique. When I first met my spiritual teacher, he explained to me that he feels, based on his own experience and all that was taught to him by his teachers, that this is the most sophisticated, direct path that there is on the planet. And so because of that, again, even if you've done other forms of breath work, I highly recommend being here with me. Plus, if you want to get to the higher levels that are incredibly sophisticated, you have to go through each level, and especially if you would want to learn to teach this practice. In the higher levels of this practice, there is no one out there offering these high techniques. When I say that they activate the chakras, the energy field, the light body, the Merkaba, I truly, truly mean that. So there are a lot of practices out there that dabble in it a little bit. Gentle practices that claim that you will activate your Merkaba. I've experienced the best and the highest of those, and it's beautiful that they're out there. But there is nothing in my experience that has come even remotely close to these very, very sacred teachings. So I hope that I've inspired you to either join the course at this point or hop on a consultation call with me. I have free 20-minute consultation calls that can go up to 30 minutes if need be, and really discover if this is right for you. And now I'm going to bring us into a little guided journey that will give you a taste and a glimmer of what this breath work is. And I want to set the field for that by also saying here that who we learn from, as we know, is so important. And the way that I was taught, it's not just the technique that you're learning, it's who's teaching it and what they embody and what the lineage is. So as we move into doing this practice today, what I have to say about that is, very humbly, I want to say that the lineage that this comes from essentially is a lineage of light that is vast. And so when we engage in these practices, these higher spiritual beings come in to hold space for us. They bring their transmissions and their activations of light. So it's not just the teachings and it's not just the breath work, it is the activation of light. To name this lineage just a little bit, my higher self, your higher selves come in. Then there is the family of light, the off-planetary family of light, the star nations, I like to refer to them as. The ascended masters, the angels and archangels of light, divine mother and father, divine creator, and the lineage of beings that has offered this practice. This practice has its origins going all the way back in time, literally to the beginning of our world. And there's not enough time for me to say too much more about all of that. But if you're interested in learning more what this lineage is, I have YouTubes that go much more deeply into who I am, who my teacher is, and what this lineage is. But I really wanted to share that with you because it's important to know the fullness of what you're coming into, even with just this one meditation. The term guru truly means giver of light. And in this lineage, the way we understand that is that whoever is offering the teachings is offering all that they are. I can truly say that being on the journey of spiritual awakening and healing that I have been on has allowed me to experience infinite realms of divine wisdom, love, and light clarity, balance, groundedness, and to exist in just an absolutely phenomenal way. So I am in such deep honor of all that I have ever been given, and it is my blessing and honor to be here to offer all of that to all of you. So as we now move into this breathwork practice together for the next 15 minutes, I want you to just allow yourself to receive as much as you can from me, from this lineage, opening as much as you can in yourself to whatever degree feels right for you. So I'd love to ask you to now begin to get comfortable. We're going to be closing our eyes. Before you close your eyes, I want to suggest that you are sitting in meditation posture like I am. And if this isn't comfortable for you, you can sit on a chair, but we want to be sitting during this practice. Throughout the course, we'll be learning to breathe while sitting, but also lying down and standing up and doing movement. So there's so much richness to this practice. I want to ask you now to begin to close your eyes and just begin to settle in. I'm going to turn off my bright light so that I can sink in a little bit deeper with you all as well. As you close your eyes, begin first now to just sink into your posture, settle into your body. Let the tension just drape off your body now. Elongate the spine. Open the heart and the sternum towards the sky a little bit, so you're really opening. Roll the shoulders up and back and down so that you're further opening the heart. Feel now as though there's a tiny string reaching from the top of your head towards the sky. Now feeling down into your sacrum, your pelvis, and your hips, I'd like you to just lift off your buttocks and wiggle around so that you've got a nice arch to your pelvis. Sit back down, move the flesh physically of your buttocks away from your sit bones, and then sit back down again. Now place the hands just above the knees on the thighs, palms face upward. All the fingers and thumbs are touching. This is open reception mudra, so it avails us of receiving the most energy from the universe. Now go ahead and check your face. Relax your eyes down into their sockets. Relax now your forehead, your temples, your cheeks, your jaw, even your mouth. Relax your tongue. Let your lips gently part here so that your face is completely soft. Relax the trapezius, the arms, the hands. Sink deeper into the earth. From this place, as we sit together, observe the sounds around you. Feel the wind, the air on your skin. Notice now your breath in its natural state. Welcoming yourself deeper into the present moment, more fully letting go of any outside thoughts, worries, or distractions so that you can just fully be here and benefit from this in the highest way possible. Now, as you observe your breath, notice what it feels like. Does it feel nice and full, or shallow and restricted, or somewhere in between? Notice everything that you can. And as you do that, I'm going to offer a prayer here. I welcome you all into this space. Let us together call forth our soul energy, our high selves. I call forth my higher self, the star nations of light, the ascended masters, the angels and archangels of light, divine mother and father, divine creator, great spirit. I call to you to bless us all with your eternal golden white light. I call now to the sacred directions, the sacred elements, above, below, and within, and the great white holy light, Leoish, to stream through each of us. I call forth the sacred energies of our Mother Earth, of our ancestors, and all the beings of benevolent energy that wish to be here with us today. Aho. So now, ever so slowly, we're going to begin to breathe consciously in and out through our nose in a technique called yogic breath. This is the very first step in level 1 Prana Planet, the Tara teachings, breathwork. This is a path to self-mastery. So even today, as you sit here engaging with your breath, as I describe this technique, offer your prayer and your intention to what you want to receive here, to embody, to open to, anything that's particularly calling to you to work with today. Continuing to observe the breath as you connect with your intention. And allowing that intention to float to the background of your mind, we're just going to begin to breathe in and out through our nose to the count of 7. And at the top of every in-breath, we're going to allow for a gentle pause. And at the bottom of every out-breath, we're going to allow for a gentle pause. Those pauses are there in our natural breathing pattern. It is like the ocean tide. As a wave crests upon the shore, there's a pause, and then it rolls back out to sea, and there's a pause. So as we breathe in this way, this rhythmic breath, we begin to connect with our primordial nature and the sense of ease and grace. So in a moment, we're going to begin that breath all together. I want you to allow your breath to just move in these natural waves. Allow it as much as possible to meet the count and the rhythm that I am in. I'm going to count it for us. And as we do that together, we're unifying together. So availing ourselves of connecting in a field of oneness and calling forth all of this beautiful light together. So empty now your lungs of all the air as we begin. And now breathing in, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Exhaling, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Here's our pause. Breathing in, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Here's our pause. Exhaling, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Allow the pause. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Exhaling 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Inhaling 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Exhaling 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Breathing in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Now exhale naturally. Keep your eyes closed. We're going to go through 2 more rounds of that. I want you now to just let your breath be natural and just observe it again. Do you notice any differences? Observe any visions, any sensations, and just allow them to be there. So learning to engage the observant self, observant mind. When we breathe again, I just want to express that breathing to account helps us to stay focused. It helps us to ingrain a new, more full, rhythmic pattern with our breath. And what you want to do is be really filling your lungs as deeply as you can. And on the exhale, emptying your lungs as deeply as you can. So allow that breath to be really deep and full. Engage your abdominal muscles. So as you're breathing in, you're filling first from your upper lungs into your lower lungs and way down into your belly. So on your inhale, your belly is expanding as though like a balloon. And on your exhale, your navel is collapsing in towards your spine. So you're really engaging your muscles. And then your lower chest cavity, and finally your upper chest cavity. So we're going to begin again, exhaling all the air out. And beginning 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Exhaling 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Inhaling 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Exhaling 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Inhaling 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Exhaling 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Inhaling 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Exhaling 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Inhaling one more time. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Exhaling naturally. Let your breath float with ease. Again, observe. Observe and just relax. Let the energy that's been coming in move wherever it's most needed right now. And we're going to go through one more round. During this round, stay as observant as you possibly can. Begin to notice now anywhere where you might feel your breath getting stuck, and just breathe deeper intention to move through that. That's simply frozen energy. That's all it is. Each time you breathe in this way, more energy is going to unlock. So it's natural to feel shaking, trembling sensations, emotions, and thoughts. Just allow all to be there. Emptying the lungs, breathing in. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Exhaling 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Inhaling 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Exhaling 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Inhaling 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Exhaling 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. One more deep breath in. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And exhale that through the mouth with a sigh. Keeping the eyes closed, observing your breath. How do you feel? What newness is there? What do you notice? How is your body? As you gently come even further back to your surroundings, let us close with an intention before we open our eyes. So connecting your intention with how you would like this new energy that you've brought in to aid you during your day or your night, and how you would like to have this new breathing pattern be more deeply ingrained in you naturally. Now allowing that intention to float to the background, we're going to bring our hands together at our hearts, placing our thumbs right at the center of our heart, all the fingers touching. And we're going to open our eyes, come back to the video, and we're going to close that practice together. Opening your eyes, let yourself smile. Let yourself feel the joyfulness that is in the space with you now. The deepening, whatever it is that's there. The light within me honors the light within you. Namaste. I'm now going to describe a little bit more about where this practice comes from, and then the teacher training, and a tiny bit about the other courses that I have to offer. So if you have time, please stay here with me or come back to this. If you're ready to join the course, please go ahead and do so. You can always learn more about where this comes from by coming back to this. So while you're in this nice new open state, hopefully, just allow yourself to take in and observe. I'm just going to take my time here. So when I met my spiritual teacher, he described to me something that was almost like out of a movie. He described that he had been waiting for me, that Spirit had told him about me, and that he was to give to me this very, very high sacred practice to be the soul carrier of, if I would say yes to this. He explained to me that his teachers lived in the high Himalaya, and that they were the very last in a long, long lineage of light, that they had given him everything that they had, and he had studied with them for many, many years in the high Himalaya. So as you can imagine, I was quite surprised at age 18 to be told that I was to be availed of this possibility to be the sole carrier of this ancient practice. He described to me that it is the most direct path that we can possibly walk, a path walked by many ascended masters. And that in truth, a lot of the masters that we all know of learned in this same lineage, this sacred ancient lineage of light. This lineage goes all the way back to the beginning of our world. I have a book called Tara, Legend of the Earth. So when I met my spiritual teacher, I had been praying for a teacher because I was on a very accelerated path on the big island of Hawaii. And I began being visited by those that I refer to as the Galactic Council. They brought me back in time to show me nothing less than the very creation of our world and the beginning of the civilization of Lemuria, the first civilization of our world, and all that happened there. They brought me forward in time to experience Atlantis and ancient Egypt and the ancient Maya lands and so on and so forth. Nothing could have been more vast. They told me that I was to write a book about all of this. I was also swimming with dolphins and whales, and I was just in a vast, beautiful, massive spiritual awakening. And I prayed for this teacher, and you learn about all of this in my book. I literally met him within 2 days of placing that prayer. And so here I was, 18, having been given this vast purpose, this history of the world. Then I meet this physical teacher who not only confirms for me everything that I had been shown and taught by these beings in these higher realms, but he tells me that he has the physical practices that can allow us to evolve as quickly and beautifully as we possibly can to re-embody the highest level of light that our ancestors, the first human beings, embodied. So I made my vows with him, and I stepped into that path of beautiful acceleration, studying with him for 3.5 years, and I then went to live in very holy sacred temples in Thailand. So, this being the very first time that I am offering this unbelievably deep, perfect spiritual practice for others to be able to teach is a huge moment in time. I know from all of my experience and the guidance that I have had that this is going to be incredible. We are going to form a beautiful lineage of teachers around this world through this. So if you're someone that's interested in that, you can contact me personally and we'll hop on a call and we'll see all about what is possible there. If you journey with me through this series of breath work, you are going to have absolutely everything you could possibly want and more for your path. So now I'm going to say briefly the other things that I have to offer on other courses beyond this 5-course series. So I also teach a very powerful form of yoga called Tara Yoga. So I'll be offering that series on here and also a teacher training for that. I work with emotional release and shamanic teachings that are incredibly powerful called Tara Healing. So I'll be offering that as well. I offer a course on healing PTSD and trauma and becoming your most centered whole self. I also will be offering on here a course on relationship and unfolding the most beautiful, divinely loving, aligned relationship that you possibly can. Also a course on conscious parenting and much more, to be honest. So this just gives you a glimpse of all that I have to offer, and I'm so excited to be here with you all. And I hope that I've inspired you today. I hope you're feeling really good from this breath work. Remember, it's just a taste, and there's so much more that you can experience. I live on the beautiful island of Maui, and here in the islands, as we know, we love to say aloha. So Aloha to all of you, and I will see you again. Ahui ho.
Beautiful. So, this is a wonderful way for you to share with others these incredible teachings, these ancient teachings. And we trust that everyone watching truly expanded their breath with that. And get ready to receive the beautiful transmissions and downloads from these sessions, everyone. Viewers, if you'd like to register, it's all here on this webpage, and we invite you to do so. Taya, thank you so much for sharing your story and for taking us to a new level.
Oh, you're so welcome. Thank you, Lauren. Thank you, everyone. And aloha from Maui.
Aloha, you are a bridge. Namaste.